The mistake, well, let's just do the front page. It's not on the front page, and then we'll fix the mistake on the back page. Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. We have a class. Class is called red. We have some instance variables, looks like a couple constructors, a set, a get, a set, a double, a void. Probably can't call it double. That's probably needs to be changed. Ignore that fact. And then a toString. So the question is, how many constructors are there? Not supposed to be a difficult question, just do we know the structure of a class? So how many constructors are there? Two, right. Two, not methods, but two constructors. And public red is what you're looking for. Same name as the class, of course. So go ahead and write 2 down. How many instance variables are there? Be careful. There are 2 instance variables, value, VAL, and word. What is final int pi? What's that? That's a constant, all right? That'll be considered a constant. So how many constant variables are there? Probably shouldn't say variables. It's a constant. But anyway, 1. How many accessor methods are there? Are those getters or setters? Getters. Those are getters. How many getters are there? There are, I just see 1. Now, someone asked me, what about the toString? You can get values in a toString. You can get variable values from a toString. And my argument is you can get variables from any method. But we're talking about a method that's sole purpose is to get a variable value. And there's only one that has that sole purpose, and it's the getters. What's the next one? Modifiers. What method has a sole purpose of modifying a variable? The set, right? How many setters do we have? 2. Set here and set there. And you can make an argument, well, any method could set a variable. True. But a setter, a modifier, that's its only purpose. Would red apple 1 equals new red delicious be a valid instantiation? Do we have a constructor that accepts a string? We do not. The only constructor we have accepts nothing. That's the default. And it accepts a number. So that would not be valid. Would red apple 1 equals new red 15 green be valid? No, we don't have a constructor that accepts an integer and a string. And then 8 would be fine. We do have one of those. We have a constructor that accepts a value. The typing mistake is right down here on the back page. So go to the back page. Right there where I've highlighted, that should say VAL, not RUN. There's only one variable in this program. So change that run to VAL. Then write down what would this program print. And the client code is down here at the bottom. We have an object called runner. Runner calls change, and then it prints out runner. It prints the toString, so it really just prints out VAL. This one's tricky. This one's tricky. Not sarcasm either. This one's tricky. Wrong.
Yeah, I figured when you said
When I said it's tricky. Yeah. The answer is not 20. It's not 20. There's a problem with this. Well, there's only a problem if the programmer wanted to actually change the value. So we have the constructor, runner, and so value, this value, the instance variable, when you call this constructor right here, it gets a value of 0, first of all. So the instance variable has a value of 0. Then it says change, but look at that word right there, int. That creates a brand new variable only in this method called VAL. Now there are 2 different variables in this class. There's an instance variable called val, and there's a variable here that only exists in this method called val. So when you set val equal to 20, that still stays at 0. So when you print this one, it has to be the instance variable. This method cannot access this one, not this way. It could if it called that method maybe. But the answer to this is 0. It prints 0. The instance variable never got changed because we created a brand new variable just in that method. Any questions on that concept? All right. How about the next one? It constructs runner, it calls change, and it does the toString which prints val. What will the answer be on this one? 10. This will be 10. We did not create a brand new variable. There's no int here. So this value refers to the instance variable, and so does that. We did not create a brand new one. All right, so that worksheet goes pretty quick. No problem. Let's go to Replit, and I got one for you to fork. Notes part 2. He's fast. I ran a 4.8 handheld. I remember I was a freshman. The only problem is I ran a 4.8 all 4 years of high school. Like I never got faster, not in 4 years. So I'm a freshman, and I'm kind of a pudgy little fat little freshman. By the time I got to be a senior, I weighed about 180, so I slimmed down quite a bit over the years. I probably weighed my least my senior year. Anyway, that's a different story. So the football coach decides that he's going to do 40 times. So I'm there. I'm set. He goes, and I go, and he starts the watch on my movement. So they weren't saying go. So I run my 4.8. He's looking at it. Look at me. He goes, go do that again. Okay. I didn't know what it was. He didn't tell me. And here I go. Vroom, goes again. Stops it. He's like, oh, wow. 4.8's pretty good. I was fairly fast. I'm not receiver fast, but for a pudgy little freshman, that was pretty fast. So anyway, the coach, he just didn't believe it. Like, no, that doesn't happen. And I didn't know what that meant until I became a coach, and I did 40 times for an entire team. And I'm like, oh, 4.8 was pretty good. That fit right in. That was at the top. Anyway, yeah. What are we doing? Oh, we're doing this class. A coach is looking to compare linemen to recruit. The coach considers two linemen equal if they have the same weight and the same height. Typically, you don't care what a lineman runs in the 40 because they're only going to run about 5 yards anyway. The 40 time does not matter for this particular case. If we're talking about receivers, now we're probably looking at some 40 times. Write a program to compare two players given their weight, height, and 40 time. So I've given the output. First of all, false. What do I mean by false? Let's just talk about that. So I've created two football players with some information with weight, height, and 40 time. If you compare those two objects with equals, what's it comparing? The memory location. Who gives a crap if they have the same memory location, right? And plus it'll always be false because the two objects are going to have different memory locations. So first of all, that's where we get the false. So I don't need you to do anything with that. I just wanted to point that out. Player 1 is equal to player 2. That would be true. So we construct the two players. That would be true because those two things are the same. And then when we do player 3 and player 4, they will not be equal to each other because their weights are different. So that's what we'll try to accomplish when we come back from lunch. So, hey, let's be first today. Let's go.
Was the code supposed to be missing, like in the thing?
Yes. We'll do the class.
Oh, because I ran it and it gave me the...
Oh, is it in there? Oh, crap. All right, we'll delete that out of there when we get in there. I left it in there, obviously.
just to test our...
Yeah, dang it.
Have a great lunch.
You too. Start recording. Oh, I forgot to hit record, so we have our instance variables done. We're starting our constructor. So here we go. This dot height is equal to height. This dot 40 time is equal to 40 time. And the only thing we're really doing here, do I have a toString? Yeah, I got the toString and the dot equals. So we're going to make the dot equals. Public, it returns a Boolean. Dot equals is a Boolean return method. And equals. And I'm going to stop there. See if you can finish it. going to give you a couple minutes to see if you can do the dot equals. Keep in mind that a football player is equal if their weight and height are equal. With a lineman, we don't care about the 40 time. Oh, you can come sit over here if you want. You can sit over here. What's that?
Do you have to make it on the method where you're like setting a parameter because you're setting it?
No. Were you gone yesterday?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. So here's kind of the deal. The main doesn't have to be touched in this program. What we do is we're using player one's instance of the class, but we're sending it player two's instance, so that we're in the player one, but we get to see player two's. So in the parameter, and you guys will have this by now, or you forgot, we're going to receive a player. And we got to call it something. Java seems to kind of call it the other instance. And I might as well just finish this for you guys. It's pretty straightforward, because now we're going to return if weight is equal to, and it's primitive type, so we can use the double equals. It's integers and doubles. If weight is equal to other dot weight, which is the variable for the instance that we sent to this class. So we're working with two instances of the class, but we can see the other one because we sent it as a parameter right there. So that needs to be the same, and height needs to be the same as the other height. And if we make our toString, then we'll be able to run the program and see if it works. Public string, toString. Return. And I think I did something like weight equals plus weight plus space height equals plus height plus 40 time. Does 40 have a O in it, or U in it, I mean? I don't think it does. Oh, fourth. Fourth doesn't, now I don't know. 40. Okay, I'm spelling it right. Not that it matters, but I was pretty sure I had it right. Plus 40 time. Barring any syntax errors, I have double on those. I fixed that. I think this should be good. So it should say false, and then true false. Oh, football, not player, football. Football's the class, not player. Football's the class. There we go. We got it.
So is football other just taking the information out of like one of the footballs that's in the thing?
Let me do it like this. Let me go to main. You don't have to do this. This is the statement that, here's the statement that actually does all this, the dot equals, copy. And so I'm going to just show you how we're calling it from the main right here. I'll just make it as a comment. Okay, that's how we're calling it. So I'm using player one's, so this is player one's instance of this class. And I'm sending it this instance of player two. So player two is the instance of player two's class. And so when I go weight, that's player one, that's up here. That's this instance variable. When I go other.weight, That's the other instance. That's the other weight in the other class that we used. Does that kind of visually help a little bit to see what's going on? Okay, so we're using player 1's instance, but we get to see player 2's instance because we sent it over there. There's 4 instances of this class that Java's keeping track of. There's 4 players. And now I can compare player 1 to player 3 if I wanted to. We can compare any of them because we got the dot equals set up. We overrode the dot equals. Without overriding it, it compares memory location. That's what that first false is doing. Then we actually override it to compare the football players according to our criteria, which is kind of cool. Kind of cool that we can set that up like it. Any other questions on this? All right, homework goes pretty quick today. A lot of people were done before they left, which is awesome. But just get going on it and you shouldn't have any homework.